Good afternoon. This series of videos is called Healthcare Reform Advocacy or Healthcare Advocacy, where we address problems in the healthcare system, take actions, and try and make the system better for all of us. I'm Alan Unell. I'm also the author of the Healthcare Advocacy Daily Newsletter, which is the text for these videos. Down below in the description section, you will find the address, the internet address for today's newsletter. You can cut and paste it into your browser's URL address line and go there and read all the links and read the whole text and the links. And you can subscribe for free over on Substack and have this delivered every day into your inbox. Two topics today. One is prescription drugs and the other one is women's reproductive health. Let's start with prescription drugs. We have discussed this numerous times in the past about the prescription drug supply chain in the U.S. being in just a horribly sorry state. Pharmacy benefit managers are responsible for operating the drug insurance portion of most commercial health insurance plans. They decide what drugs are covered. That list of what's covered is called a formulary. They decide how much to pay the pharmacy, sometimes less than the pharmacist actually pays for the drug. They decide what copay you get to pay, and they negotiate with drug makers to get drugs onto the formulary. And that negotiation stinks on ice. It's bribery. They take kickbacks to put drugs on the formulary. And when they take those kickbacks, the drug manufacturers, because they have to pay more, jack up the price of the drugs. It turns out that this shenanigans can increase the price of the drugs by 50% or more. Now, hold that thought. President Biden wrote an executive order to promote competition in the American economy. This executive order, I don't think, got a lot of notice. It was in June of 2021. The order, in part, directed the Food and Drug Administration commissioner to work with states and Indian tribes, Native American tribes, that proposed to develop Section 804 importation programs in accordance with the Medicare Prescription Drug Improvement and Modernization Act of 2003 and the FDA's implementing regulations. A mouthful. Hold that thought. The state of Florida is responsible for providing health care to many of its residents directly via the Agency for Persons with Disabilities, the Department of Children and Families, the Department of Corrections, and the Department of Health. That includes providing their prescriptions. On Friday, January 4th, 2020, I think it was the 5th, sorry, my error, on the 5th, 2024, the FDA approved a plan by the state of Florida, this is the first one to be approved, to allow direct importation to the state of drugs from Canada, many of which are expected to be at significantly lower cost than the same drugs procured in the United States. This because of that executive order. I know there's a certain irony here that the Democratic president did this and that DeSantis people put it in place, but you know what? It's good that they work together to save money. Anyway, Florida will have to do some reporting to the FDA. They have to relabel the drugs or make sure that the labels meet FDA standards. There's some bookkeeping to be done. But it seems like a really easy way to save a lot of money that's being eaten up by the pharmacy benefit managers. Now, since we don't have universal health care yet, we're taking advantage of the lower drug prices that are reflected in another country's drug pricing policy, who does have universal health care, rather than adopting that policy ourselves so that we can get lower drug prices in the U.S. for everybody. So that's really the bottom line on this one. It's a nice program. I'm glad they're doing it, but they shouldn't have to do it. Because if we had universal health care, we, the people, would just negotiate all the prescription drugs at a lower price for everyone here. Okay, I include in the newsletter a link to a news article about the story. So here's the action. It's really simple. I'm sure members of Congress are paying zero attention to this. They're so busy trying to fund the government. Let's let our member of Congress and our senators know about this. Their contact information is down below in the description section, also in the resources section of the newsletter, or you can use ResistBot and your cell phone to send an email that I wrote. It'll go to your member of Congress and your senators. All you have to do is type in sign, PIEPUM, on your cell phone in your messaging app and send it to 50409. Here's the email. I'm your constituent, and I just found out that the state of Florida can now buy drugs in Canada to provide to those people who get health coverage directly from the state. That's like Department of Children and Families, persons with disabilities, prisoners, etc. They found a way around the pharmacy benefit managers by using Canada's ability to negotiate lower drug prices. They're going to buy them from Canada. Now, if we had universal health care, we could negotiate all the drug prices for all of us and not have to go through these contortions to get drugs at a fair price. Look, we all deserve a healthcare system that works for all of us and at a fair price. That's why I'm asking you to please do all you can to make that happen. Support and pass H.R. 3421, the greatly improved Medicare for All Act, so we can all have health care at a fair price. Thank you. So please send that to your representatives. Now I want to talk about the Supreme Court and abortion. And the title of this piece is SCOTUS and Abortion. You can suffer while we think about it. The Supreme Court on Friday, January 5th, 2024, agreed to let Idaho enforce its near-total ban on abortion in certain emergency medical situations while legal proceedings continue, and said it'll take up the dispute involving whether the Biden administration can require, under federal law, hospitals in states that ban abortion to perform the procedure on pregnant patients whose lives are at risk. So if you're in the ER and you're pregnant and you're getting ready to die, they might just let you die instead of aborting the fetus. The question raised in this case is whether that law, it's called the Emergency Medical Treatment and Labor Act, EMTALA, preempts state law restricting access to abortion. You know, federal law generally preempts state law in like almost all situations. The dispute between the Biden administration and the state of Idaho is one of several involving abortion that has arisen following the Supreme Court's landmark decision unwinding the constitutional right to abortion. The Supreme Court said in a brief order it would put a hold on a lower court ruling that blocked Idaho from enforcing its abortion ban in certain medical emergencies until it issues a decision in this case. Arguments will be heard in the April session. Let's be clear, we are early January. They're not going to think about it until April. That decision isn't going to come out until summer. Let's be clear, this is let's leave the ban in place for emergency room treatment of women who are in an emergency condition and can die or lose fertility. We will let them die instead of aborting the fetus. I don't know how else to say how little they think of a woman's life. All right, here's the extra credit action. The way to fix this, there is a piece of legislation at the federal level that will fix this. It is called the Women's Health Protection Act, and it will make abortion legal again everywhere in the country. It reinstates essentially Roe versus Wade. You can go to ResistBot, again, grab that cell phone, send a text message to 50409. The message is sign, SIGN, PJYRRH. And here's the email that you'll be sending. P.S. If you want to call or whatever, you contact information will be in the description area. But here's the email that I prepared, and it'll go to your representatives. I'm your constituent, and I just learned the Supreme Court let stand the Iowa law that allows hospital emergency rooms to refuse emergency room abortions to save a woman's life. I need you to support and pass the Women's Health Protection Act now, restoring a woman's freedom and autonomy. You can save lives instead of letting women suffer and die needlessly. Get it done. Lives are in the balance. Thank you. That's what I've got for you today. If there are any questions or comments, or if I made mistakes, feel free to send me a comment. If you like, you can also send it to healthcareadvocacy1@gmail.com. I get them there pretty quickly, and I will be sure to respond to you. Down below, like, share, subscribe. Have a great day. Thank you.